Welcome all. In this session, we are going to start with our 4th lesson called Work, Energy and Power. So let's start exploring. What is work? In everyday life, all of us do some work. We do work when we play, when we go to school, when we pedal a bicycle, when we jog, when we lift a load and so on. In common language, we use the word work much casually. For example, when we are reading the book or when we are writing, we say we are working. When we are pushing the wall, we say that we are working. But actually, no work is done in these activities. That is reading, writing or trying to push a wall. Then, in physics, work done should involve force and displacement. So this is very important. Every physics student should know that the work done should involve force and displacement. For example, take this first picture. The boy is applying the force to the car. The car is moving. So there is applied force and the displacement of the object. In the second picture, the boy is playing with the football. He is applying the force to the football and it is displacing. So we can say that work is being done in these cases. When we are squeezing the rubber ball and when we are playing with the clay to make small toys or objects, there also we do work. So work is said to be done when force changes the shape of the body. The first cases, it should cause displacement. We can say that work is said to be done, and work is done when force changes the shape of the body. Now we are going to see the cases in which the work is said to be not done. What are they? Okay, so no work is done if there is no displacement. The first thing. The second thing, when the displacement is at right angles to the direction of the applied force. I repeat, when the displacement is at right angles to the direction of the applied force, we say no work is done. So this means for the work to be done, the displacement should be in the direction of the applied force. So in this picture, we are playing the tug of war. The two teams are playing. We say that the work is not being done here. Why? Because both the teams are applying equal and opposite forces and there is no displacement here. So we say no work is said to be done here. When a person is pushing the car with so much of force, but when he is not able to push a car, when the car is not moving, we say the work is not said to be done. But if he is able to push the car, we can say that work is done by him. So here you can see that the person is applying the force to the wall. But will there be any displacement of the wall? No, there is no displacement of the point of application of force. So in this case also the work is not done. Let us take another example. The porter is carrying the load on his head. So here he is applying the upward force, right, to carry the load. He is applying the upward force, but he is just standing. There is no displacement. So here the work is not done. Let's say the porter is walking with the load on his head, but here the displacement and the force applied are right angles to each other. Therefore, even when the porter is walking, we cannot say the work is done. Actually, in this case, no work is done by the porter because of the direction of the applied force. So, for work to be done, what are the points to be remembered? The point of application of force must be displaced and the displacement must be in the direction of force. So these 2 points are very important for us to understand the cases of work done. Shall we define work? Work is done by a force when the point of application of the force moves through the distance in the direction of the force. If you understand the concept of work, this definition is very easy. So as I said earlier, work should involve force and displacement. And we can write the formula of work as force into displacement in the direction of force. So how can we define work in another terms? It can be defined as the product of the force applied and the distance moved by the body in the direction of the force. So using the formula also you can define work. You can write the definition in any ways. Both of the definitions are right. Shall we write the unit of work? Work is equal to force into displacement. Unit of force is Newton. Unit of displacement is meter. So unit of work is Newton meter. 1 Newton meter is termed as 1 joule. We can write it as 1 J. That is 1 joule. Definition of 1 joule. 1 joule of work is said to be done if 1 Newton force when acting on a body moves it by 1 meter in the direction of force. So 1 joule of work is said to be done if 1 Newton force when it's applied on a body moves it by 1 Newton meter in the direction of force. Actually, you may remember that unit of torque is also Newton meter. So only to avoid the confusion, unit of work and energy is written as joule. That's why we termed 1 Newton meter as joule. Joule is a scientist who worked in these fields. That's why to honor him, we gave the unit as joule. Now we will do some problems. Here, a person is applying the force to the block. So he is applying 12 Newton force and the block is being displaced by 5 meters. So how we should calculate the work done? Just multiply the force and displacement. So 12 into 5, it's 60 Newton meter. Next, a boy has to apply an upward force of 4 Newton on a book to lift it from the floor to a desk. If he does 3 joule of work in the process, what is the height of the desk? In this problem, they have given the amount of work done and the applied force. They are asking us to find the displacement. That is, what is the height of the desk they are asking. So the formula is work is equal to force into distance. So we can write the distance as work divided by force. So just substitute the parameters. 3 joules divided by 4 Newton is equal to 0.75 meter. We can write it in centimeters, so 75 centimeter. Therefore, the height of the desk is 75 centimeter. Now I'm going to ask you an important question. Do you feel lazy or sleepy while listening to the lecture? Okay, if you feel like that, just take a break and then continue the watching the lecture and then start learning. It will be very effective. Okay, when you are listening to the lecture, why do you feel sleepy? It's because you are just passively listening. You are not doing any work actively. Right? But when you're playing or when you're dancing, when you work actively, you will feel very energetic, right? Because there is always a connection between the work and the energy. If you work actively, you will be energetic. There is a direct relationship between work and energy in physics also. Energy is the capacity of doing work. So, we need to learn more about the concept of energy. Hoping you are also energetic while listening to the next concept. If work is done by the body, its energy decreases. When you ride a bicycle, definitely you will feel decrease in energy in you, right? So if the work is done by the body, its energy decreases. When the work is done on a body, its energy increases. If a body is moved from the ground to a height, the work is done on the body. Why we say like that? Because we are applying the force and there is a displacement, right? So that's why the work is done on the body against the force of gravity. The gravitational force of the earth will pull the object, right? So here the work is done on the body against the force of gravity, and the body at the height will have energy because we have done work on the body, so its energy will increase. So the body at the height will possess energy. What is the SI unit of energy? It's also joule. We can represent it as capital J. What is 1 joule of energy? A body is said to possess an energy of 1 joule if it can do 1 joule work, or if 1 joule work is done on it. So this is the definition of 1 joule energy. What is mechanical energy? The energy possessed by a body due to its state of rest or state of motion is called as mechanical energy. The mechanical energy can be in 2 forms. One is potential energy and another is kinetic energy. The body has potential energy due to its position or condition. The body possesses kinetic energy due to its state of motion. So we are going to see the examples for the mechanical energy: the car in motion, the cycle riding up the slope and riding down the slope. These are all the examples for the mechanical energy. Here in this picture, the girl is throwing the ball. So in these pictures you can see that there is involvement of potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So the total mechanical energy of a body is the sum of its potential and kinetic energy. So this is very important. Total mechanical energy of the body is the sum of its potential and kinetic energies. I'm sure most of you would have played this game called Angry Birds. This is very cool and interesting game, right? But how does the Angry Bird get so much of energy to fly far away? It's because of the stretching of the slingshot. Can you observe it? The stretching of the slingshot store potential energy in the slingshot, and that helps the Angry Bird to fly far away. So now we are going to study about the concept of potential energy. When you are stretching the slingshot, what you are basically doing? You are doing work on the slingshot. Can you see here? There is a force applied and there is a displacement. So we can say that we are doing work on the slingshot, and that results in the storage of the potential energy. Right? The compressing of the spring is also another example for the potential energy. So here you are doing work in compressing. So there is a storage of potential energy. Similarly, the water falling from the height has enormous potential energy. And an object raised to some height, it also has the potential energy. So a body can have potential energy due to its position, and a body can have potential energy due to its change in configuration. You may have observed that there is a change in configuration in spring because of the compression, and there is a change in configuration of the slingshot due to the stretching. So a body can have potential energy due to the position or change in configuration. The potential energy has the capacity to do work. We have already learned that the energy can be defined as the capacity of doing work. Similarly, this potential energy has the capacity to do work. In this case, it applies force on the Angry Bird, and it also causes the displacement of the Angry Bird. So, the stretched slingshot does work on the Angry Bird to fly far away. Right? So how can we define the potential energy? The energy possessed by a body due to its position or condition is called potential energy. The condition means the change in configuration, we can say like that. We can divide the potential energy into these two types. One is gravitational potential energy and another is elastic potential energy. Gravitational potential energy is due to the gravitational force of the earth. So, the object raised to some height, it has gravitational potential energy. Elastic potential energy is due to the deformed state. The change in configuration or shape of the object can result in elastic potential energy. So now we are going to identify the type of potential energy in the examples we saw already. So this is the example for what type of potential energy? The object is being raised to some height and the water is falling from height. So this is the example for gravitational potential energy. Here the work has to be done against the force of gravity, so the potential energy gets stored in it, so it is called as gravitational potential energy. Here there is change in configuration, so this is the example for elastic potential energy. Now we will see clearly about gravitational potential energy. So as I said earlier, when the object is raised to some height, the work has to be done against the force of gravity. So what type of potential energy is shown in this picture? It's an example for gravitational potential energy, right? So have you ever ride the bicycle up the slope? Is it easy to ride the bicycle up the slope? No, it's difficult. Why? It's because of the gravitational force of the earth. The gravity will pull you down. So you have to do more work. The work done against the force of gravity will get stored in the cycle as potential energy. Now we are going to derive the expression for the gravitational potential energy. The gravitational potential energy is stored in an object due to the work done on the object against the force of gravity. So if we want to measure the gravitational potential energy, we have to measure the amount of work done on the object to raise it to the height. So now let us consider the mass m being raised to the height of h meters. So if you want to measure the gravitational potential energy, what we have to consider? We have to consider the work done. The formula of work done is force into displacement. What is the formula of force? Force is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity. So force is equal to m into g. Now we have found out the work done as mg into h. H is the displacement. So the work done is equal to mass of the body into acceleration due to gravity into height to which the body is raised. We know that the work done against the force of gravity is stored as gravitational potential energy, so we can equate the gravitational potential energy as work done. So the gravitational potential energy can be written as mass into acceleration due to gravity into height. Simply U is equal to mgh. So this is very important equation. We can use this equation to do the problems and find the gravitational potential energy. The SI unit of gravitational potential energy is Joule. So we have found that the potential energy of a body depends upon the following two factors. One is mass of the body and another is height from the ground. But what is this acceleration due to gravity? Now we will see an example for that. Let's say we are dropping an object from some height. At time t is equal to 0, the speed of the body will be 0 meter per second. After 1 second, it will become 9.8 meter per second. After 2 seconds, the speed of the body will become 19.6 meter per second. If you are able to measure the speed of the body, definitely you will get these results. When you observe that, you can notice one thing. the velocity of the body is rising steadily. After every 1 second, 9.8 meter per second is being added to the previous velocity. The speed of the body increases steadily at the rate of 9.8 meter per second square. The rate at which the speed increases is called as acceleration due to gravity. We can prove that the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. How? Using the formula. Acceleration is equal to velocity divided by time. So at 1 second, the acceleration is equal to, what is velocity? 9.8 meter per second square divided by 1 second, it's 9.8 meter per second square. At 2 second, acceleration is equal to 19.6 meter per second divided by 2 second, it's 9.8 meter per second square. So we have proved that the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. Now we will study about the concept of kinetic energy. What is kinetic energy? The energy of a body in motion is called its kinetic energy. Anything that has mass and is in motion has kinetic energy. This is true for solids, liquids and gases. Let's say you are throwing some stone on the window. What will happen? The window will shatter. How? It's because of the kinetic energy of the stone. I cited this only as an example. Don't ever try to break the window using the kinetic energy of the stone. The river falling from the mountain, it has the ability to break down the rocks or even carry the rocks. It's because of the kinetic energy of the water. And the storm, that is the air in motion, has the kinetic energy to uproot trees, damage houses and so on. All the things in motion do not have same amount of kinetic energy. For example, the raindrops falling on our head, will it hurt you? No, it will not hurt you, but the hailstones will hurt you. It's because the hailstone is having the larger mass than the raindrop. So, the kinetic energy depends upon the mass of the object. Right. Similarly, the light breeze will not affect you. It will not uproot the trees. But the storm, it can uproot the tree. So that means the kinetic energy depends upon the speed. The speed of the light breeze is very less, but the speed of the storm is very high. That's why the trees can be uprooted by the storm, right? So what are the factors affecting the kinetic energy of the body? 1. The mass of the body. 2. The speed of the body. So using this, we can write the expression for the kinetic energy of the body. Shall we? If a body of mass m is moving with the speed v, its kinetic energy is given as Ke is equal to half into mass into square of the speed. What is the SI unit of kinetic energy? It's joule. We can represent the symbol as J. Capital letter J. Potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy when it is put into use. Let's take this falling ball as an example. The ball has maximum potential energy at the top position. When the ball falls down, the potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. So, potential energy decreases and the kinetic energy increases. And we already know that sum of the potential energy and the kinetic energy is called as what? Mechanical energy. Though there is variation, decreasing and increasing of the potential and the kinetic energy during the falling of the ball, the mechanical energy remains constant. That is sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. The mechanical energy remains constant. But this is possible only if there is no friction. If there is friction, what will happen? Definitely the ball will come to rest. Okay. In this case, we are neglecting the force of friction. In the absence of friction, sum of the potential and kinetic energy remains constant. This is known as law of conservation of energy. This law of conservation of energy leads us to some insights like energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed, okay, but the energy can be transformed from one form to the another form. You cannot create energy, but you can convert an energy from potential to kinetic and kinetic to heat energy and so on. In today's class, we have studied these topics. We have learned what is work, what is energy, and we have also learned what is potential energy, what is kinetic energy. So, the assignment questions for this week are: define work, give the SI unit of work, define potential energy, write the expression for the kinetic energy, find the gravitational potential energy of 2.5 kilogram mass kept at a height of 15 meter above the ground. The force of gravity on mass 1 kilogram is 10 Newton. What is called as law of conservation of energy? So do submit the assignment in the Google Classroom. Thank you for listening. Keep learning, keep exploring physics. See you in the next class. Bye-bye.